Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Energy Newsbeat podcast. Today is just an absolutely special day for me, and have a very, very special guest. My name is Stu Turley, President and CEO of the Sandstone Group, and we got RT Trevino. He is the fabulous podcast host for the Crude Truth, and welcome, RT. We're so glad to have you here.
Oh, thank you, Stu. Thank you for having me on. That was too nice of an introduction for me.
RT, I have just really enjoyed getting to know you and follow you. You've had a very good little crew of folks on your podcast. Tell us a little bit about the Crude Truth.
You know what? I've been blessed, and it's been a pure joy to do it so far. I can't wait to have a couple of other guests on. A friend of mine, a good friend of mine, told me that I should do a podcast called The Crude Truth. I call it a TV show because, hey, we're face to face. There's cameras pointed at us like right now. So,
right.
But no, I've already had on a Wayne Christian and Sarah Stogner. Also, the great energy expert David Blackman, and also
that guy.
That guy.
Isn't he a Forbes author?
He is a very good Forbes author, and when I had him on, it was late February, and he said we'd hit $100 oil by March, and sure enough, March 1, wouldn't you know, Russia invaded Ukraine, and we were at $100 oil.
Wow!
So David Blackman knows a thing or two. And then my last guest that I recorded was a good old George P. Bush that just ran for Attorney General, and I'm sure he's not out yet. I don't know. That's just my guess. I know Kim Paxton is going to move on there, but I don't think George P. is going to be done anytime soon. At least I hope not for the oil and gas industry.
Oh no, and so I just enjoyed watching your interview skills. But why did you get started? It's like you gave birth, and all of a sudden a podcast pops out. What happened there?
It has been a joy. I do my best to do one a month. I am so busy with drilling oil and gas wells that we have a family owned and operated company called Pecos Country Operating. Right. We also have our exploration and production, which is called Pecos Country Energy. So that's where I spend the majority of my time out in the field working on a daily basis. However, again, a good friend of mine named Jeff Crilly goes, RT, I really think you could do your own podcast. And I go, no, I'm okay. So I asked a couple of other, no, thank you. But I asked the other couple of other friends to take a look at what I'd done, and they go, hey, this is great. And these are good friends, the people that'll tell you no, right, without hesitating. Yep. And so there you go. The Crude Truth was born, and I've been shooting them there for about the last 4 months, downtown Fort Worth, right across the street from the Fort Worth Petroleum Club. So it's been a blast so far.
So I had the pleasure of meeting your dad a little while ago, and it was so cool because we were over at the Heart Energy Permian over there in Fort Worth. You've got a bloodline. You've got some pedigree in you on some oil.
I do talk about that every now and then. Yes, no, I am second generation oil and gas. My dad started in the late 80s, back when the Dallas Cowboys were bad and oil was low. There may be some correlation there. I don't know. And however, he saw the writing on the wall as the future, and he started there working as purchasing working interest in oil and gas leases back in the early 90s. And in 2011, he kind of got me and my brothers together and was like, hey, here's what we've done. Here's where we can go. And by 2019, we were operating. And we haven't stopped since. And we've only continued to grow since 2011. You figure we had the downturn in 2015. Yeah. And then we had the downturn again in 2020. And I like to joke with my dad that he's seen it all. He's been through 7 downturns.
Right.
And on April 20th of 2020, when we hit negative 37, I had to call him right up and go, you ever seen this one before? And he goes, no, this one's new.
This is a new one.
But
Oh,
it's been a blessing to work with him and learn from him and all of
yeah.
the individuals that he has that are around him, and only continue to, again, like I said, grow and continue to produce oil here in
Yep.
America for Americans. That's been the best part of the last few years.
Isn't that fun? And when you sit back and think that RT, you're part of the solution by providing low cost energy to America. That's kind of cool. I mean, it's like the oil field workers are the old cowboys, the way I look at it.
Absolutely. They are the oil field workers are just like the farmers and just like the cowboys. They are
Yep.
the backbone of America. They provide energy to everybody that may be listening right now or just even look at a picture on screen. Okay. The
Yeah.
farmers, they grow the food, and the cowboys, they got the cattle
Yep.
and all the other livestock that help us out on a daily basis to let us eat. So those are the backbones of America, bar none. That and first responders, of course.
Oh, absolutely. And I got tickled. Steve Reese, who owns Reese Consulting, Midstream Consulting there, and he is absolutely a nut. He posted on LinkedIn on, I think it was somebody's post on LinkedIn, and it said, if you don't like oil and gas, get rid of all these. And it listed everything on the planet. I mean, so you got to have it. And I thought it was really pretty funny. Steve is just a good guy putting that list. It's like, have you ever seen a list fold out of LinkedIn like that?
Yes, no. There's a good documentary that came out 10 years ago now called Spoiled, and it's lowercase
It's called
sp,
what?
spoiled,
Spoiled. Okay.
spoiled, and it's lowercase sp, capital OIL, lowercase ed.
Okay.
And it basically talks about all the daily benefits that you go through with oil and gas in your life, from literally flicking on a switch
Yep.
to brushing your teeth to obviously getting in your car and answering your cell phone. It's a great piece. Unfortunately, I don't remember who did the documentary.
Right.
However, it's a great one, and it's called Spoiled, and it's a real good one for people to check out.
All right, great. I'll put that in the show notes when we do that. Hypocrisy is something that we kind of, you and I also have talked at lunch when we were having a buffalo burger at that place. I had one, then you had to rub it in the next day and go get another one there. That was not very nice. But we talk about energy and getting low cost energy to everybody on the planet. We got to get people out of poverty. Energy
Yes.
poverty.
No, you're absolutely right. It is such a great energy source, the oil and gas, and I think gas is going to become a bigger proponent in the next 50 years. And I can't do it justice, but I'll do my plug for the Crude Truth. I had Wayne Christian on, and he said that he is, and I agree that he is for cheap, reliable, and efficient energy.
Right.
I'm not against electric. I'm not against the wind. Okay, I'm not. However, they are not efficient. They are not cheap, and they do not bring long-lasting energy to anything that they supply power to.
Right.
And you talk about getting it to the lower income areas. Another good example I always talk about is the country of Haiti, which is right next to the country of the Dominican Republic.
Right.
As of right now, we got tons of people coming from Haiti, from our lower border. Let's not get started there about our border scenario. But people, and it should make Americans thankful that people are willing to die to come to this great country, because this is by far the greatest country. Getting back to Haiti, and the Dominican Republic. Okay, Haiti is very much a desert these days. The Dominican Republic, which is on the same island, is a luscious rainforest. People go there to vacation from America all the time. Well,
same island.
I'm sorry?
Same island, right?
Same island, yes, same island. And in the 1950s, I'm not for this nationalizing, but the Dominican Republic nationalized natural gas, and that immediately took over heating their homes and powering their stoves.
Okay.
So they've been able to continue this luscious green tropical rainforest, while Haiti has continued to use wood for their heating and for their cooking. And guess
Right.
what? They're out of trees basically to where they can't heat or
Oh,
cook
is
it.
that island that they've got? Here's the green side, and then here's the brown side
Yes,
when you
yes,
look
sir.
at it. Oh,
Yes, sir.
wow. I'll
Yes,
have to put
that's
that in
correct.
the show notes too, because that's stark.
It's a very stark contrast. I mean, you can't get no better of an example of how oil and gas is good, is help safe for the environment long term, if that makes sense, by that type of an example.
Did you just solve Easter Island? That's why everybody's dead on Easter Island except all those statues. You just solved Easter Island. They burned all the trees on Easter Island. Is that what that was?
Yeah, there are no trees on that island. No,
No, there's not.
that's an interesting place. So Stonehenge is there, right?
No, Stonehenge is in Europe, but we'll leave that.
Oh,
We'll have to cut that out,
oh,
RT.
sorry. Please do, Stu.
No, I'm not.
Oh, oh man. Yeah, no, I'm not. Unfortunately, my geographic with Europe is not the
No,
best
you're an
at
oil
this time.
man, dude. I just like hanging with oil dudes. So, anyway. All right. But that is such a stark contrast about having why low cost power. Because when you have you're heating your home with dung, when you're heating your home with fire, I mean, burning buffalo chips like my grandparents did. I mean, that is not healthy.
No,
Burning clean natural gas is healthy.
absolutely. It
So,
is. I mean, on my way back from lunch today, I saw the city of Fort Worth buses, are being powered by compressed natural gas.
yeah.
It's like we can do this in America, and we can only by going to natural gas, we will only continue to lower our carbon footprint. Which, guess what? As a country, we're already the lowest there is when it comes to a country that produces
All right.
oil and gas.
Now, what's up with Fort Worth being like logical and everything? I mean, what's up with that? That's kind of cool, actually. Now Fort Worth just made the news the other day about being mining for Bitcoin.
Yes, there are several companies now starting to mine for Bitcoin. In fact, we've been approached a couple of times, and I am not 100% still there on Bitcoin. It's and what I mean by that, I haven't fully wrapped my head around it.
Right.
I've got people asking me, "Hey, can we use your natural gas?" And I'm so focused on producing natural gas right now that I
Right.
haven't had time to, figure out I mean, I understand the idea of it. I take the natural gas, I put it into a giant computer system basically, and it mines Bitcoin on a daily basis. And in some cases, you literally have a guy in this giant shipping container for 8 hours a day. It takes the IT world to that whole old school level of the 80s, where you had that one IT guy in a corner of a basement.
It's amazing, but when you're doing ESG and since you're able to drop in a mine on a Bitcoin mine on natural gas and pulling it off of the grid and then putting it on one of your well sites, it's not a bad thing, RT. I mean, when you sit there and think, hey, let's mine it, use your natural gas, keep it off of ERCOT. We all know ERCOT had some real problems. Did you freeze to death in that one time when your electric bill was like $9,000 or something?
Oh, it was a little higher. I will say that it got a little cold. It did get a little cold during that span. Yes.
But the one thing is there's 3 electric grids in the US, and I like being part of Texas. Texas, I like Texas.
It's Texas is the best place to be, Stu, and when it comes to these grids and the way that these individuals are being able to pull the power from the natural gas, so to speak, and keep
Right.
these Bitcoins, I think that is a very neat. However, like I said, I just have not fully wrapped my head around any of that yet to really get into it. I understand it, but you know what? Kind of talking about natural gas here today, as we talk, natural gas is at $9 an MCF.
Wow.
And that's, it's kind of, depending on how much production a company has, I don't know how much a Bitcoin's going for today, but I would think, selling my natural gas would be rivaling a Bitcoin today.
Well, yeah. I don't know about crypto though. It could go up or it could go down. Did you see the news? This is just, I'm going to totally take us off rails here. The metaverse this morning had somebody steal their land in the metaverse. So this lady was crying. I'm like, so you spent $9,000 for a plot near Snoop Dogg in a fake land in the metaverse and it got stolen. I had nothing to say, RT. I was like, somebody bought fake land in the metaverse, which is Facebook's little place to play games.
Okay. Thank you for that. I just got Facebook, by the way, for the Crude Truth. So I don't know.
I'm not either. I was sitting there going, I thought it was actually somebody stole their land.
Well, yeah, which, that's not right.
No, and you and I'm sitting there, I'm getting ready to just get all the family together and go run after them. No, they stole a digit out of the metaverse and it was their land. It was like, anyway, we'll cut this.
Hey, you know what? Good for them. I'm glad that they could invest $9,000 on something in virtual reality. That's the best thing I can say there. I prefer reality, and right now it kind of is upside down. I will say that. I joke, tell people, when they're like, man, times are crazy. I said, absolutely. I voted for Donald Trump twice. Yes. And I said, who would have ever thought I'd be voting for Donald Trump and like the job he did as president,
And you might get to vote for him a third time.
Might be able to. We'll see. And, we will see. But no, I do prefer reality right now. But, getting back to reality, I think this Biden administration will do the opposite of what's right with reality right now. I think if they're going to go left, then I think we're all going to go right, if you know what I mean. Literally. Literally.
What do you think as an oil man, RT, what would help you bring more power to the people, so to speak? I mean, how would you get more oil and gas to the people? What could the Biden administration do besides
literally, if he woke up from right before he went back, he woke up from his mid-morning nap, got on and literally said, drill, baby, drill. Right. It would take 6 months. Don't get me wrong. It's not an overnight, story or anything like that. Success. It would take about 6 months to finally hit, to get the price lower. But where we're at right now is a Biden administration man-made issue. This administration went to war on the oil and gas industry on January 20th, 2020. Right. And they have not put their foot off the gas, so to speak. Right. And just earlier this week, when he was in Tokyo,
pun, by the way, RT.
I'm sorry.
That's a good pun.
Well, sorry. I'm not trying to be punny, I guess.
That was good.
My wife would like that one. But he was in Tokyo this week, and there in front of people there in Tokyo said that we are in the midst of an incredible transition. And I don't think any of us are on board with this incredible transition to green. Nobody can afford a Tesla. No. Okay. There's not enough green vehicles on the planet for everybody to have one tomorrow. Right. There's not enough stations to provide energy for these green vehicles, let alone, there's just this, let alone the power it would take to move ships, planes, and 18-wheelers with all the goods that we need on a daily basis.
Isn't that nuts? And then lithium and all of the rare earth minerals. Holy smokes.
Yes. That has been going, those prices have skyrocketed in the last 30 days, right, Stu? Is that correct?
Yes. Now, investors stand to make money off of commodities. And so if somebody's investing in oil and gas, that's a good thing right now because let's see, the stock market's got some real problems.
Yes.
We don't know if it's going to go left or right or down or up, or it's bad.
Right.
Oil and gas, BlackRock, was it last week, I think, said that they are now going to start putting money back into oil and gas.
Yes.
And so it is good now to see that natural gas is, Biden administration even has said, oh, by the way, we got to have natural gas. So it's available for funding.
Yes.
So it's nice that investors are warming back up to investing in oil and gas, because that's people are running to hide their money somewhere, aren't they?
They are. And it's a shame that this administration ran people away from investing in oil and gas. And that's what really happened here. They almost, I guess, body shamed people into pulling out of oil and gas investments. And I don't know if that's the right word to say, but they shamed people, making them feel bad for having their own money to do what they want with in oil and gas. I think it was the governor that basically told BlackRock that if they weren't going to invest, then, hey, I think they have a Texas retirement fund of some kind with BlackRock. And I was like, hey, we'll pull those funds out. And once again, the great state of Texas making a charge. I mean, with the way everything's going right now, Texas is taking the lead on a global scale. You saw last week, was it last week that WTI was higher than Brent crude? Yes. And that why? Because we're exporting right now more oil and natural gas to our friends in Europe. And so we are becoming, once again, not that we really weren't, but we're really taking that real big lead again in the oil and gas industry. And that's why, again, getting back to your question on what can happen, that if this administration truly said, drill, baby, drill, we could then really ramp up production. We would not be afraid, that, and it's not that we're afraid, but we're concerned that if we drill, baby, drill, that this administration will pull the rug underneath us, and we're all going to fall. And next thing you know, price will crumble, and that's not what we want. We need to work with this administration to provide an efficient energy to the American people right now. And that's what we do here at Pecos. I mean, we drill, we're a family owned and operated company. We drill oil wells here in Texas, and we employ family members in the local communities that we drill in on a daily basis.
And giving returns back to investors is what has been very important, is a new process that, like Shell and Exxon and all those others have said, hey, we're not going to be increasing our CapEx. We're going to continue to give valued returns to our investors. And that's important for you to be able to say to your investors as well, too, is that it's important to keep good returns, because you're going to be able to, as any good E&P operator, to provide good returns back as a very good, safe place. And I'm just talking about Exxon, Chevron, and other good oil and gas companies as far as a good return, correct?
Yes, no, at this time, we are definitely taking on bigger projects than we have in the past. And so we've got a couple of investors, and the returns that we're showing them right now are even higher than what we had told them 6 months ago, when we told them, hey, it's going to be $85 oil. This is where we're going to be at. And next thing you know, right now we're averaging $105 a barrel for the way that we do it with our 30 days. And and I'm sure as we continue to go up in price, that'll only go higher. So the returns are important. And right now is a great time. One thing that is true, the time to invest in something is when it looks like it's not the right time to invest. If that makes any sense.
RT, say that again. I'm a little bit fuzzy headed on that.
Well, and that's something that Warren Buffett has also done. It's like, hey, when everybody else is scared of a certain aspect of investing realm, that's always the time to invest in that portfolio. When it's very high and everything like that, as far as, when everybody's on the bandwagon, then that's not the time to invest. And right now, the investors are not there for the oil and gas industry. So that's why, that's one of the main reasons why oil is so high right now, because over the last 18 months, like we talked about, individuals, private equity, hedge fund groups have pulled out of investing in new exploration for oil, which has caused this dip in the supply that we have, which then economics 101 has raised the demand, hence has raised the price at this time, Stu.
My goodness, my head just exploded. But I'll tell
Sorry.
you, the fun thing is though, is that you're part of the solution, RT. You're not part of the
Absolutely.
problem. I'm part of the problem. My wife has always said I'm part of the problem. Just, part of the gig there. But it's fun when you sit back and think about we have inflation, you have all these things. How do you hedge against inflation? You got to go look for something to invest in something like commodities. And
Yes.
commodities are important investing tools right now.
Commodities, if you go back, have always been the best investment anybody can make in a time like this. Go back to 2008, go back to the late 70s. It's, commodities have always shot up and worked out very long term and positive cash flow for people during these times of recession and inflation.
So what do you see coming around the corner for Pecos country and Pecos energy? What do you see coming around the corner?
But we are excited about everything that we got going on. We've just picked up a few more leases up in North Texas, and we're getting ready to pick up some more a little bit northwest of the Fort Worth area. Nice. And we're also looking to slowly head west, and not super far, anything like that. We're not. We're not at that level yet of being there in the Permian Basin, but we're getting out there slowly but surely. And the areas that we're going to be drilling in right now and producing, more importantly, is going to be areas where we can get that low cost oil and have the production of a West Texas play.
I like that, and you're probably not going to have the takeaway issues at all there, the way that you're describing that.
That's correct. We keep it pretty lean and mean, and we really don't have those issues as far as the takeaway goes as you would have in West Texas. That is one neat thing about being a small independent. I will say that we're on the Pecos country operating. We love it. We're like any other Texan. We love wearing our 10-gallon hat. But we are small compared to the other independents. But you know what? It's fun when we can all get together and know that we're producing oil for the American people on a daily basis.
But what's fun is you're a family-owned business, and that, to me, that's the bread and butter of the U.S. right there. Family businesses, family offices, family businesses. It's what it's all about.
It is, and that's one thing that we have really kind of been our bread and butter, as you just said, that when we started acquiring leases on our own, back in 2011, before we were operating, we were picking up other family leases. And that's still what we do to this day. And I don't have one family that's not happy with what we've done. It's like, we protect the area. We are environmentally sound. Okay. If there's livestock on the leases, we take care of it. We'll make sure that, hey, everything we do is safe for the livestock. We don't trash up roads. If a road happens to get dirty, we fix them. And I know that's kind of but no, we respect the legacy that these other families have in the oil and gas industry. Is really, I guess, what I'm trying to say on that.
Well, that's cool, because it does make a difference. You're not just a guy, a fuzzy-headed foreigner, as you and I have said before. Fuzzy-headed foreigners coming in and tearing up your land.
No. Well, I'm not one of those big city oil men that just show up out of nowhere and do all this and disappear. We, in the small towns, we use the supply companies in the small towns. We use the workover rig companies in the small towns, and that also, I think, just let the cat out of the bag, or the secret is, I think, how we're able to keep our costs very low. That we use the service companies of the local areas, and they're not giant companies that have so much overhead that they have to charge almost 2 and 3 times what these small companies will able to charge and afford for a good living for themselves.
So profit matters to the shareholders. Okay. I like that. So actually delivering good services. Now, I was looking at that there are some gigantic numbers out there with the supply chain crunch, drilling and pipe. You need extra money for all that. The supply chain, what do you think is going to happen with the supply chain and cost, RT? Holy
We are
smokes.
still prepared and dealing with high supply chain costs. Those are not going to go away anytime soon. As we continue to have these high oil prices, we will
Right.
continue to see these supply chain crunches, shortages, outages, whatever you want to call them. We will continue to have, in a nutshell, supply chain issues. And right now, we are just doing what we can to order what we can ahead of time so that we do not slow down any production that we have right now.
Boy, that sounds great. I'll tell you what, thank you very much, RT, for stopping by. We know that you've got a great show, The Crude Truth. I'll
Yes.
tell you, I am just excited to get to have you stop by the podcast. We'll put all your contact information in the show notes, and I want everybody to reach out to you. And truly, really have enjoyed getting to know you. And I'm going to be a little bit of a pain in the neck on you here.
Yeah.
You and I are going to be riding in the hotter than hell.
Yes, that's right. In Wichita Falls. And I'm excited about that. That'll be the last weekend in August. I don't know if I'm ready, but it's coming ready.
I know I'm not, RT, but you know what? We got to throw this out there for any of the other oil folk that are in. Let's see if we can get a bunch of people to ride together for the hotter than hell from oil folk. So
That would be real fun. I think so. I think that would be real cool. We should try to get a group together and do that for sure.
yeah, we'll reach out to the Energy Strong folks and everybody else. So thank you very much, RT, for stopping by.
Stuart, thank you for having me. Have a good day.